How's it going, everybody? It's Jay Nanda, San Antonio Metal Music Examiner with Examiner.com, here at Backstage Live in San Antonio, September 1st, 2011. And if you don't recognize the gentleman right next to me,
I said cheers.
You're not a metalhead. Just change the channel, click another video or whatever. Man who needs no introduction, but I'm gonna give him one anyway. Lead singer of Down, Arson Anthem, Superjoint Ritual, and
I play guitar on Arson.
there you go. And Texas band you may have heard of called Pantera. Mr. Phil Anselmo, how are you, my man?
How you doing, man? How
Thank
you doing,
so
buddy?
much
Nice
for
to
taking
meet
the time.
You. All right.
Outstanding. And as if Phil's presence isn't special enough, tonight is the official kickoff to Down's U.S. tour.
Did you hear that? Sound effects and everything.
Didn't even try to do that.
Included.
Yes, didn't even try to do that.
First show of the night.
First show of the tour, and here at Backstage Live.
Very first show of the night.
Yes.
Just you missed it earlier. It's called sound check.
There you go. But obviously, it goes without saying, Down is a New Orleans band. Phil is a New Orleans guy. Texas means so much to him back in the day.
Big time.
But of course, Pantera was based in Dallas-Fort Worth. So what I would like to know is, do you have any San Antonio specific memories or stories through any of your bands over the years?
I remember touring with Pantera, San Antonio, Typo Negative.
Wow.
Outdoors. I can't think of the name of the place, but it's an outdoors place, and normally you think this big, huge thing, and maybe it was, but for me, it was always intimate because they had these beautiful trees that lined the whole place. Are you recording? Okay. Either way.
Is it working all right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I just remember why Typo sounded fucking great that night. The crowd's always fucking awesome. High energy place, San Antonio. It's Texas, man. Mexican thrashers going berserk all over this fucking place, and why not? Bring them on! I love it.
Yes. Well, obviously, first show of the night or the tour, Down, very special.
I fucked with you, huh? First, it's an inside joke.
Obviously, you guys have been working on new material because the most recent album came out in '07. What's the progress with that, and is tonight's show special enough where we may see the San Antonio debut of some new material?
Probably not. But, obviously we have between 6 and 8 new songs in the can. I think there's probably some fine-tuning that needs to happen. I think that I need to get on the fucking ball when it comes to writing some lyrics. Other than that, though, the song structures are there, and I know there's a commitment within the band to start, I guess, laying out the basics, going to the studio, laying the drums out, and fucking building these songs. And we would love to have this new stuff out. I'd figure no later than the very, very beginning of next year. If we could squeeze the time in, but we're not going to have time because of the touring. We go obviously from here across the west coast of America, and then in November we go to South America, so the window of time for actually recording right there is pretty limited. So either way, early next year we'll probably start laying drum tracks.
And the opening acts on this bill are In Solitude and Pony Killer.
Yep.
Phil, obviously, if you don't know, owns his own label, Housecore Records.
You gotta love it. I swear. You're on the down bus.
Am I officially in?
When a roach crawls up your arm.
And I don't like roaches, so
well,
feel free to take it. Thank you. But there you go, his shirt, Housecore Records, is Phil's record label.
It sure
Little
is.
plug there. So are both of these bands on your label? Just Pony Killer?
Pony Killer's on the label, and they're not a heavy metal band, so don't think any otherwise. They are a trippy rock psychedelic thing that to me is just a different sound. A very, very different kind of band. Really interesting record to mix and record, but mixing is always a nightmare, so it's like phew. But that record came out really good. In Solitude, now there's a insanely popular band right now from their hometown in Sweden called Ghost, and In Solitude are compatriots of Ghost. They're from the same area, from what I know. They're a metal blade in America, and they are a very traditional heavy metal band, but I guess they're calling it the new wave of Swedish heavy metal, which is great. I love it. I love the kids' enthusiasm, and that's why we brought them out, you know. To me, it's like another scene. It's like another small scene that they're hitting on these cylinders. They're touching on old heavy metal, which is dear to my heart. I love it. I can't help it. So, you know, bringing out the In Solitude boys, it's like, you know, helping out the local scene there and helping out the worldwide scene, because I know they have some fans here in the States. So fucking, that was a no-brainer.
Well, a lot of people, down fans, may not even be aware, but like I was telling Phil right before we started filming, that they were most recently in Texas back in March during the Independence Fest at Maxwell, and I believe that was right around the same time where Patrick from Crowbar started filling in on bass for Rex. A lot of people may still not know that Rex is not in the band. He's moved on to another band, Kill Devil Hill. Obviously, Pat goes way back with Kirk and Crowbar. You go way back with Rex. You're all kind of family in there.
Absolutely.
Give an update on what happened and how difficult was it for you to see Rex no longer in Down?
Well, it's always difficult, man, but, you know, there comes a time, you know, we're not in our 20s anymore, we're not young kids. Rex has to address a lot of things in his personal life, and it was a mutual thing, the split, because, you know, playing in a band and all that type of stuff is a great portion of your life. It is a great importance in your life. But Rex has two beautiful kids, and he has obligations to his children and to his health, to himself, to his family, and that is always bigger than just being in a band. So, with blessing and with love, you know, like I say, the split was absolutely 100% two-sided. Rex and I still talk today. We're still brothers. And when you mentioned Pat and I go back a long time too, because, you know, we're both from New Orleans, and Pat was always around and playing in various bands, and then, yeah, obviously he's been in Crowbar now for a long time. So, you know, if he couldn't do the job, he wouldn't be here. And I think really in Pat's case, playing him down has made him a better bass player. So, and he has stepped up big time. Matter of fact, he's fucking solid as a rock, and he's doing fucking great. So, all sides of the fence are pretty covered there, you know.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
Great to hear. Well, I was talking to Kirk over the phone back in February, and kind of a similar question for you. When you guys, you know, Pepper, Jimmy as well, when you all started getting together for Down, was it more a case of, hey, we're all friends, this makes sense, let's join and jam together? Or was it, hey, I'm a fan of I Hate God, hey, I'm a fan of COC, hey, I'm a fan of Pantera, let's throw it all in the mix and see what comes out? Or maybe a combination of both?
Interesting question to put it, you know, when it's put that way. But in all fairness, at the time, and this is the early 90s, I was still living in Texas. Matter of fact, Jimmy at the time was living in Atlanta, and he was, I guess, about to move home. Pepper was still in North Carolina. But we were all cosmically on the same page, and we were very much into bands that, I guess, were like the first wave of bands to be extremely influenced by Black Sabbath. Some would say ripped off, but bands like Witchfinder General and St. Vitus and Trouble and bands like that, you know, we were just into this whole thing. So much so that I think really when we first started this thing, you know, keeping in mind it's a side project, I think we wanted to do, I guess, what our interpretation of that genre was. And at the time, we call it doom. You know, today everyone says sludge, this, sludge, whatever. No, you know, there's so many different genres. But for us, it was doom metal that really, really inspired us to do what we do. And, you know, you brought up the fact that we all are from different bands. And, you know, it might be really neat to see what a collaboration would be like. But, you know, I can't help but say, you know, we were really focused on the fact that Trouble, Witchfinder General, St. Vitus, Pentagram, bands like that were just really, really on our turntable a lot back then. So, you know, I gotta say that's really where the main influence came from. But after playing together for a while and doing a couple records, you know, of course, the down music does become its own thing. You know, it's not just derivative or retro. You know, it doesn't feel like a retro thing. You know, we're not playing slow for the sake of being slow. I don't think we're a pure doom band, to tell you, you know, so to speak. You know, we write, I guess, and to me this is very worn out too, but we do, and I think maybe we were one of the firsts to really do the southern slow, heavy sludge fucking thing for real. You know, people would argue I Hate God might have done it before us, but I Hate God is slow for the sake of being slow. So there's a difference there, you know.